Hey, and welcome back to Hank's True Barbecue. So, what are we going to smoke today in my offset smoker? Well, I decided to go back to a classic old favorite, a Swedish traditional cook, which is smoked meatballs. Normally, meatballs are done inside, but just like a lot of other foods, I think they benefit greatly from smoke flavors. Of course, we're going to cook them in my offset. But not only that, I'm going to give it a nice Middle Eastern touch because I've been inspired by some dishes from Jerusalem or Palestine, so I figured let's get that into those meatballs. Now, while prepping for this cook, I decided to chop up some splits over there. I got some kindling to get the fire started. I always use these really thin sticks just to get a roaring fire going, and as soon as that's kind of up and running, we can add the splits and just keep going. Temp wise, this is going to be a traditional low and slow since we're going to use ground beef. It's not going to take forever, so I want to get a lot of smoke flavor in there. So I'm going to cook at roughly 120 Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit. We're going to cook the meatballs by itself, and then we're going to cook the tomato sauce separately, and we're going to add it all together in the end. But all right, let's get to prepping those meatballs and adding a lot of good flavors. Now, when making meatballs, I always use a big old stainless bowl. I really think it helps blend the flavors together. I did prep this one by adding 1 deciliter of cooking cream, which I really think is a nice addition to those ground meatballs. Also, well, 1 deciliter is 7 tablespoons. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of breadcrumbs, and I'm going to let this sit for like 10 minutes to let the breadcrumbs soak up a bit, all of that good cooking cream. Once that's done, we're going to add the ground beef, we're going to add the spices, etc. So I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. And we're back. So now we're going to add some flavor. First out, 1 teaspoon of salt. Really need that to amplify flavor. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. This is where all those exotic Middle Eastern flavors come in, but I think it's a real nice addition. I've done this 2 times before. I'm really happy with the result. And we're going to use 2 teaspoons of cardamom. I think they turned out pretty good. Considering I'm not a professional chef, that's all right. I'm gonna add some good old barbecue rub. We're gonna get them covered on all sides. I'm gonna roll them around a bit using my own brand, KC Royale Pork and Poultry. I think it's a nice addition, but get whatever you have at home. So I'm gonna get these covered, flip them around. Gonna have to do this a few times just to get them covered in all that good flavored rub. I think we have enough now. I'm just gonna swoop up that extra rub that's already on the tray. Should be good enough. Looking fine. This is gonna add some nice color, gonna add some nice bark, so I'm gonna space them out evenly so we get a lot of smoke flavor in each one. Yeah, that should do it. Looking good. Now, except for the meatballs, I'm also gonna cook up some tomato sauce. I do that in a separate pan, adding 1 tin of good quality tomato sauce. This is strained tomatoes. I'm gonna cook that separately so we get smoke flavor in the meatballs, and then this is gonna be warmed up, and at the end of the cook we're gonna put the meatballs in the tomato sauce, add some good old cheese, parmesan cheese for extra flavor, and smoke it a bit more. But things are looking good, so we're getting ready to start the fire. One more thing I wanted to show you before we fire this up. It's about maintenance. As you can see, I've used this quite some time. It's getting just a bit what I call dry on the surface, slightly turning red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply another layer of oil. You can see sprinkle oil on. This is regular canola oil, and just distribute evenly. The key here is I'm doing it before firing this up, so I get the polymerization to happen. Basically, we're gonna get the oil to stick to the metal and form a nice protective layer. That's it. You can see how quick it is. So now we're ready to fire this up and get this burned in. And we're gonna cook some quality meatballs. So I'm just gonna use some newspaper crumbled up, and I did spray some oil on it also, so it should work just as well until I get my favorite matches back in stock. While the smoker is coming up to temp, we're of course gonna add some water to the water pan. That caught on fast, looking good. Gonna put a few in here for pre-warming, and at the same time add a few more slightly bigger. But we should be able to cook within 15 minutes, I'm guessing. I'll keep an eye on the temp and see where it's at. But again, like I said before, 120 Celsius or 250 Fahrenheit should be just perfect. Gonna close the lid just a bit at the door, get that draft going out through the smokestack. Temp is climbing. We should be ready to cook within 10 minutes, I'm thinking. All right, getting close. I'm gonna get these meatballs in right away into this, so the level is gonna rise quite a bit. I still want to have a bit of margin so we don't spill and mess things up. Looking at the firebox, you can see it's dried up already. It's looking much better. Also, one thing I didn't do now, but is really good advice, is get some oil here on the back of the firebox also, because that one, along with the top, is getting by far the most exposure to high heat. All right, time to temp the meatballs, see where we are at. Oh man, that's looking good. 40 degrees Celsius, still some time to go, but yeah, things are looking good. I'll give it another 10 minutes and we should be able to put the meatballs in the sauce and wrap up this cook. So the meatballs have been in for 30 minutes. I'm temping them at 50 degrees Celsius right now, which is just perfect. So I'm gonna get these into the tomato sauce for that final cook. Quite good size. Oh, this is gonna be tight. I have to shift this one up a bit. Pull it out. Yeah, this sure was a tight fit, but I think we can get it to work. I'm gonna add some cheese to this. I did grate some parmesan cheese and sprinkle that on top. It's gonna melt. Parmesan cheese is always good. That should do it. So we're gonna give it another 10 minutes. Melt the cheese and just get those meatballs up to 56 degrees Celsius. That's what I'm aiming for. 56, 58 should be just perfect. All right, final stretch. So total cook time now is 30 plus 10, 40 minutes. Meatballs are looking good, real good. Move them up to the top shelf. Do a proper taste test. Man, that's some pretty sweet meatballs, I would say. Gonna leave them here, get my fork and knife out, and sample these bad boys. Gotta say, enjoy sampling food right off the smoker like this. The top shelf is just perfect height, so oh man, that's looking good. Nice, juicy. Get some cheese for that. With the tomato sauce, you could go with some pizza sauce, marinara sauce, plain tomato sauce, which I did here, strained tomatoes. Variations are endless. Man, this is good. I really like this cardamom cinnamon flavor. Mm. So this was another fun day, spending some time with the offset smoker, cooking up some real good food, like traditional meatballs, but changed it around completely with that Middle Eastern style flavors and the smoke flavor, obviously, and the cheese on top. So quick cook, fun cook, really good, both for adults and kids. I think I'm gonna start this with some pasta. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you guys next episode.